I'm going to state immediately that you may disagree with some or all of this entire video or concept. This is not a true implementation of how patch is supposed to work. However, it is a pragmatic one, so please feel free to disregard or alter however you see fit. You really don't need to implement or support patch in your JSON API. In the vast majority of cases, put is going to be good enough. That said, partial updates can be useful, and whilst this isn't going to satisfy purists, it will get the job done depending on the scale and scope of your application. If you're still with me, then cool, let's get on with implementing patch. As with our previous Behat tests, I'm going to start by tagging the patch scenario with the tag of T, and at this point if we send in the test, we're getting back the status code of 405. In other words, this method is not allowed, but then it wouldn't be because we haven't yet implemented it. And we can validate this by checking the output of a debug router and seeing that we don't yet have a patch method. Okay, so implementing patch is very, very similar indeed to implementing put. It's so similar that we're just going to start by entirely copy pasting the put method and updating any references to the word put with patch. So having updated the routing annotation, we're pretty much done. There's just one tiny tweak that we need to make. And honestly, if you was to look at put and patch side by side, at first glance, this change is so minute that it's really difficult to spot. Now, PHP Storm actually helps us slightly here by adding a little label next to the argument. As we can see, it says clear missing, and whilst the default is true, we want to set this to false. As ever, you should look to the interface for instruction. So you can command or control click the submit method inside PHP Storm, and you'll be taken to the method definition on the form interface. And we can see the second argument is clear missing, and it says whether to set fields to null when they are missing in the submitted data. Now, most of the time, if one of our API consumers forgets to send in a field, we want to throw a 400 error, as this would be a bad request. We'd be missing some important piece of data. But with a patch implementation, partial requests are exactly what we're targeting. And by setting clear missing to false, then we're effectively telling Symfony's form component to keep what was originally on our entity, our album in this case, and only update using the data that's explicitly provided in the current request. As ever, it can be worthwhile sending in a manual request as well, just to validate for yourself that this is definitely working. So I'm just going to set the track count here to be 99. I'm going to send this in, just this one field of track count, and then I'm going to check the database to ensure that the track count column is now updated to 99. Okay, so the only task left at this point is to allow ourselves to delete existing data, so let's get to it.